aha Ghanatube so modofo snowy masan so atenase ensem ahodo a ekoso ewo omega ni mu no onsa beka ebusiafo matenase sei no makwakoje emwa bebre de apa na intempa no ye hakotie nia ekoso ewo omani ne ba ebusiafo me demo atwaso.
Today, President John Mahama's goodwill may gradually be chipping away. Why? Because his approval ratings have started dropping, and they've dropped by 6 percentage points from 73 in July to 67 in September, but still enjoys support from all the 16 regions of the land. And that's according to a latest poll from the Info Analytics, their September report. What are the causes of this? And any parallels from Imani Paul's report, we'll look at the data, number, strength, and what this means for the government. Joining us for us to have a breakdown of this, a particular report from the Global Info Analytics is the Executive Director himself of Global Info Analytics, Musa Dankwa. Grateful to you, sir, for joining. Now, let's look at what even informed the work you did and what numbers are we looking at.
So what do you have?
3 months. So the timelines or the calendars are known.
Okay.
The last one was in July, and this is the current one we've just done. We sampled about 1,997 people on the telephone, nationwide, and also further 7,500 in the field face-to-face across 83 constituencies and all the 16 regions. What we're saying is that the usual stuff we track every 90 days, direction of the country, approval of the president, approval of the government as a body, corruption perception in terms of overall assessment of corruption, and whether the government is fighting corruption, and also standard of living of voters are things we measure regularly. And what we saw this time around is a bit of softening in the numbers for John Mahama, the government as a whole.
This should be normal, isn't it?
It's normal, but sometimes when the drop is sharp, then you know that something is driving it. If you look at the numbers from John Mahama, dropped by 6%, and that's quite huge in polling numbers when it comes to polling. Normally, polls don't drop that kind of massively. And also, if you look at the direction of the country, about 5% down from the highest of, I think, 71 or so, is quite down, and that's also sharp. And if you look at those who say that the government is doing well in fighting corruption, that is down as well. So these are a bit of indication that tells you that, look, people are getting a bit agitated and probably concerned about certain things that are happening between the July and now.
So once you say if the drop is sharp, then something is causing it.
Yes.
Did this poll also reveal what exactly is causing that drop, sharp drop?
No, we can only infer. We didn't ask specific questions. Okay. If you look at standard of living, it's dropped marginally, about 2% compared to last year. When you compare the like-for-like data for July and now, dropped by 2%. So we don't believe that drop is linked heavily to economy. But if you look at the perception about fighting corruption, that has dropped. Now, usually we test perception about corruption of the government, but we put that on hold until December because it was too frequent for us. But we don't believe there's perception of corruption on the part of the government itself. I believe the reason that is happening is that people are thinking that they are not pursuing certain corrupt cases vigorously enough. And I think that can be linked to the oral and what we've seen people talk about oral and lack of action. And also the talk recently about the plea bargain people are trying to get behind the scene, which people are really angry about. They don't expect people who steal money to be able to bargain and get go scot-free or get less sentence. And I think that's something they have to fight and try and address that with the public. The public don't have appetite for plea bargain, and the government must be listening and listening very carefully. That is on another side. And then also the Galamsey issue has been heightened recently. And I believe the heightening of the Galamsey issues has something to do with what people are thinking about where the country is headed.
Now, does it foretell how this government, or the approval rating of this government by, say, 2026, for example? Can you, based on the trend over the period, to say that probably in 2026, this is how it will go?
No, I mean, when it comes to data, a first drop in a number is not a trend.
Okay.
A second drop is not a trend. But if you continue for a third time,
okay,
then you can say this is clearly a trend that is manifesting. So this is just a blip.
Okay.
We want to see whether it's an outlier and whether it will pick up again next time. If it doesn't and it drops again, then it should be a very big concern for them. And then if it drops again, then that means that, look, we are in probably a very muddy waters.
Is it the first time it's dropping?
Yes, for John Mahama.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, if you compare where Nado was in 2024, October. October, the last tracking poll that we did under Mahama, Nado was on 36% approval rating.
Okay.
Very, very low. And the first tracking for Mahama was 66%. 66% for Mahama in the first tracking poll. So if you look at where Nado was and where Mahama moved to, it was quite big significant. And now he dropped 67. Still higher than his first poll. So you can see that 1, 2 in 3 people still are.
Was it 66?
Yeah.
Because and it is 67 now.
Now.
And there's an improvement.
Yeah, even though it is declined, it's no worse performance for him. His first tracking poll, he was enjoying 66%. 66%.
Okay.
Then he went to, I think, 73 or so. And now 67.
Okay.
So you can see that even though there's a decline, it hasn't dropped below his first numbers that was recorded in April 2020.
It's approval, right?
Approval rating, yes.
But in July it was 73.
Yes.
So he moved from 66 to 73.
And then
now it's now dropping.
Yes.
Marginally to... Okay, it's not marginal, right?
It's quite sharp. It's quite sharp.
67.
Yes.
Like 6%
drop.
But can that also be influenced by the sort of news that has come about this government? For example,
certainly.
The use of a private jet and what have you, the Galamsey, and these are all part of it?
No, we know the private jet was not true.
Okay.
And social media is quite rapid in disputing that. So that is not the issue. I think the issue sits for me, from what I understand, talking to people, around Galamsey, around failure to see concrete steps on oral, which is very key in terms of how people voted. There are some people who voted for Mahama because of the oral promise. And then such person not seeing oral, even though you yourself are not being said to be corrupt or a government, but you are failing to act in the eyes of the people. Some are saying, are they condoning it? And if you look at what this guy said some weeks back, that some NDC lawyers are trying to negotiate cut deals behind the scene, that really made people angry. Right? Those kind of news feed annoy voters, and they begin to rate you lower than they would have otherwise done. And then you look at oral side, gone quiet, even though they said they are working behind the scene, people are not patient. So these are the things that will affect the overall performance of the government, and indeed that of the president.
And it also corroborates with those who think that the country is not headed in the right direction, right?
Those move in tandem. They are highly correlated. Once the rest of the country goes down, Mahama will go down. Okay. If Mahama goes up, that number will go up.
Okay. Quite interesting. Because that also declined from 71% in July to 66.
Yes.
Okay. And then for performance, 18% rate the performance as excellent, right? 54 say very good, 12 say average, with 16 say very poor. But if you combine the performing very well together, that will give you a higher number.
It's still a higher number. But if you see, that's why we're always comparing the last period and the current period. If you don't do that, you don't see what has happened. But showing that, you can see that overall, in terms of performance of the government, those who are saying very good or good has declined from 61 to 54%.
Okay.
Then you can put this into context. Those who were saying excellent was 19% before for the government as a whole, now 18%, a drop of 1%. Those who are saying average moved from 10 to 12. And those who are saying very poor or poor moved from 11 to 16. You can see that people are getting a bit dissatisfied with the government performance based on what we just mentioned.
I mean, I don't know, recently you had the Imani also. Let me just still stay with your data, because at a point in time you mentioned how many of the voters are on social media. And I think that's around 70% or so.
Yes.
With 30% not being on social media.
Yes.
It means if you win the social media war, you're winning the game.
Absolutely. I mean, yes. I mean, social media is a place that everyone must be. If you're a politician and you don't know what is happening there, you'll be really, really shocked. Now, the sentiment that are being heard on social media eventually will reflect on the ground. When we go to the field and we do face-to-face interview, these people that are on social media are the same people we are engaging on daily or on quarterly basis. So whatever they are putting out on social media, they will tell us. And then the feedback you see. And that's where I think there's a correlation between what we found now and what Imane sentiment analysis was showing much earlier on.
Okay.
But we had figures to it. They didn't have figures actually to put it, but we are giving the actual numbers in terms of people's behavior.
Also, collaboration or corroboration of what they found,
absolutely,
and what you have found.
Yes, absolutely.
Interesting.
Yes,
because when that came out, a lot of people were asking questions.
Yeah.
But now, once you have numbers to it,
then it settles the argument.
So the government, if it's worried or it's interested in, say, we want to still stay in power, should pay attention to this.
Absolutely, and they're not paying anything for this data. We're doing for for the country and for good governance. And you see that they will respond because the numbers are not in their favor. And when they respond, who benefits? Ghanaians benefit. So I think they have to have their ears on the ground and see what the poll numbers are saying.
Yo, ya have tie ensem no about betimi e do comment about comment section measure I can kind na e de amofefe me kai wo say aha eye Ghanatube so ensem e ko ba e wo oman Ghana ni nyina no onsa e beka on subscribe na fe so fa wonsa emi notification bell no so se ne be ensem no ye de tuma na wenya no entempa so sisi ade makram